Hi and welcome to Rosslyn Hill Unitarian Chapel, Children's Chapel. I'm now going to light the central candle to celebrate our chapel. You might recognise the chalice. It's the one we usually use for Children's Chapel, and I think it's made of myrtle wood. It's so beautiful. So I'm just going to light the central candle. There we are. I light this chalice to celebrate our Unitarian Children's Chapel. We are the chapel of the open mind, the loving hearts, and of course, the helping hands. Today I've put several candles in the middle of the chalice, and for the first one to represent the chapel itself, like we do with the main service. And also I put some extra candles to represent all of the children that I've met so far in the chapel, and also to represent your joys and concerns this week. Hopefully I can light them all. As I go to light them, if you have a candle with your family, now's a great time to light it and to share your joys and concerns of the week. So hit that pause to reflect button, and I will light your candle here with the central one. I hope you've taken some time to share your joys and concerns with your family, and I've popped our chalice is still aflame behind me there. This week's theme is all about water. Water, water, everywhere, not a drop to drink, is a line from a famous poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner by Samuel Taylor Coleridge, first published 300 years ago. This poem that was written is all about a sailor who was on a ship that has becalmed, which means that the wind has stopped and his boat is motionless in the middle of the ocean. The sailor is surrounded by water, salty water that he cannot drink. Now, I was told that phrase as a child and it really stuck with me. I thought, that's crazy. How can someone be surrounded by water and yet not have anything to drink? What will happen to him? And that is someone with a concern, isn't it? I know you've just done your joys and concerns, but don't worry. He falls into a lovely deep sleep, and when he wakes up, it has started raining, and the wind carries him back to a place of help near the land. He doesn't even have to try. Grace is bestowed upon him, and slowly he goes to a place of safety. But my teacher didn't tell me that bit, or I didn't learn that bit. So I was just concerned that there was a sailor who needed to have some water in the middle of the ocean. It's a funny thing. So I bought a glass of water with me this morning, and I suggest you have yourself a cool, refreshing, clean glass of water to enjoy as we take Children's Chapel. It's beautiful. I sometimes forget just to take these simple things. So we've taken our mind to the seas and the ocean, and over half the surface of the earth is covered with water. Oceans, seas, lakes, rivers and streams. All of life on earth needs water. We all need water. We drink ours, and plants take in water from the ground through their roots. Do you remember last week's meditation? That involved water coming up from the earth through the roots. But what does water mean to you? I love swimming. I've put on my Lido t-shirt because I love going swimming. I love going swimming in the swimming pool, and I love going swimming outdoors. But what does it mean to you? And what does it mean to you at chapel perhaps as well? I will put on a photo of a friend who loves outdoor swimming too, and it's a photo taken of him at the very start of a waterfall, and you can see water gushing on his head. It's quite powerful stuff. Water means so much to all religions. I couldn't possibly cover it perhaps in today's mini service, if you like, but do investigate it with your family. It's used to invite people in, to cleanse them and to renew their sense of self. So maybe as a family, have a think whether it's going down to the rivers of the Ganges in India, or perhaps Muslims who wash part of their body before they enter the mosque, and they walk barefoot into the mosque. So what does it mean for us at chapel and our spirituality? Perhaps have a think with your family about that. Water. So what do we know about it in science? Well, as we know, it's a liquid. It moves around magically. It can be a solid in the form of ice or snow. It can even be invisible. It's actually all around me probably at the minute, but I can't see it. It's vapor in the air. And when the sun warms water on the Earth's surface, some of it evaporates and rises into the air. And Isabel has done a lovely picture to show this of a cloud. And the cloud is crying. It's tears of water. I don't know if you sometimes as a child just look up and wonder what that means when all the water comes down from the cloud. It's very beautiful. So if the air does cool down and some vapor changes back to these tiny drops of water that go up from the lakes, and they form the clouds, and as the clouds grow bigger, the drops fall as rain. Sometimes they freeze and fall as hail or snow, which is hard to think about in summer, isn't it? When it's so warm. For you parents and carers out there, the jazz song Let It Snow was actually made in the summertime because it was so hot, and the musicians just had to think about snow to cool themselves down. That always tickles me. So the rain comes down from the clouds and it returns to the streams and the rivers and the seas. So it's a never-ending process of a water cycle. This is just a bit of water that's come from many places probably and travelled, maybe even the earth. I don't know how it works. I'm still finding out. It's been drunk and used and purified and cleansed, and here it is, my right to water and how much I need it. So have another sip. And just like energy that can never be lost, it changes from one kind to another. So how cool is that? It's like a superpower, I think. And because of water's superpowers, it is used as this symbol, which can stand or represent something else. It stands for life, it stands for making things clean and fresh and new again before we start another cycle ourselves on the journey that we're on. And the journey does have many cycles, like any hero that you read in a story or any heroine in a book. They will go through different cycles to begin again and to rise up again. And to me, that's really beautiful, what water might represent. So, as usually we do, I have a story for you. And it's all about Snowflake, and it's from Soul Matters. It didn't have a name attached to it, but it's from the Soul Matters site. It's called The Existence of a Snowflake. It's a journey, like your life, which is a journey too. It starts in a cloud. Clouds carry drops of water vapor. Clouds also contain tiny particles of dust. Drops of the water vapor cling to the dust particles, and when conditions are cold enough, the water freezes into crystals and a snowflake is born. Crystals can attach in many different ways to make infinite patterns. Infinite means more numbers than anyone could count. The temperature, what the cloud is like, and other factors influence how the snowflake grows. So, it is probably true that no two snowflakes are alike. Someone told me that too. No two snowflakes are alike. Wow, can that be true? Each one is unique, like you are unique from everybody else, from everyone else who has ever lived. Each snowflake has a journey ahead of it. Some parts of the journey are common to all snowflakes. Some parts are unique. The next part of the journey is the same for every snowflake. It falls to the earth. You could get your hands and fall to the earth. But where it falls can vary. The snowflake may fall on a warm sidewalk and melt into water right away. It may fall on cooler grass and stick. I like it when a snowflake falls gently on my eyelashes. Do you? Can you imagine that? The snowflake may even fall on top of other snowflakes. What happens? Making piles of snow, and you can use it to make snow people. Yeah, I hope it does snow this year. Eventually, though, all snowflakes take the same journey of melting into water. Some water is soaked into the ground and nourishes plants, flowers, and even vegetables like tomatoes. Some water runs into gullies and into rivers, and they all meet, and this goes into the oceans, the biggest gatherings of ex-snowflakes on the planet. That sounds like Glastonbury or something, or a festival to me. All the snowflakes melting, going to the river, and gathering back all together in the oceans. Water from the oceans and plants and other sources evaporate when it gets warm, and they turn back into water vapor. Where does the water vapor go? Back into the clouds. Our snowflake, the one first imagined, has returned from where it began. Wow, that is so beautiful. Does that mean I have some ex-snowflakes in here, perhaps? Perhaps. Wow. I hadn't really prepared what to say next. I'm a bit blown away myself by the story, but I do have a photo that I'll share with you of Isabel and I, and I'd walked to nursery to go and get Jensen, and all the snow had built up on my hood, it had built up on my eyelashes, and I remember a sense of being slightly overwhelmed and in awe of the elements, and I think that's no bad thing, is it? So I hope you enjoyed that story, and maybe you can go back through the cycle with your families. So start off as a snowflake coming down, falling gently, maybe even onto your hand, and then melting and imagining it going into the river. And then when it gets warm again, floating back into the clouds. A beautiful, never-ending cycle that we all need, and hopefully are all grateful for, whether we remember it or not this week with all the very wet weather and rain. So next I will give you all the details about ice block excavation. So I will tell you what you need, and I will go to the kitchen and we can do that together. So here are all the things you need for your ice block excavation. I love doing this. I've done it a few times with Jansen. You need your clear plastic tub. You need some things that aren't going to suffer too much in the freezer. So I've got some wooden things, these little wooden acorns. I've got some plastic buttons, a little shell from our adventure that I think Isabel's painted a bit, and I've got a little shell there as well, extra. So just use something that's waterproof and that you don't mind getting wet or changing colour with the water, and a plastic tub that you won't that's freezer proof. This one's had ice cream in, so I know that it is freezer proof, and that's big enough to contain your lovely chosen items. So I'm going to fill it up with some water and put all the things inside, fill it up with water, and then I'll be able to find a place, hopefully in the freezer without spilling the water, and pop it in there for about well, how long does water take to freeze? It depends on your freezer. It's quite fun checking to see whether it's actually frozen yet as well. So do just see what you can do. And when it's set, when it's ready, you can turn it upside down like jelly and watch it slide out and then chip away until you've got all the pieces. So I filled mine up with water. You can see they're all floating and boinging about. It depends. The little buttons have gone to the bottom. It's quite fun just playing with it like that for a minute, depending on what you've chosen. And now I'm going to pop it into the freezer. There we are. It's in the freezer. Just going to leave it there for a couple of hours, and then hopefully if it's nice and warm next week, or even a bit later today, I can take it out and watch it melt and get all the items back out, and it'll cool me down at the same time. A little bit of ice excavation, ice archaeology for you. It will hopefully bring comfort and joy. Don't forget to close the freezer and wait for it and enjoy. I hope you enjoyed that craft. Here are the closing words. As we leave this friendly place, love give light to every face. May the kindness that we learn light our hearts until we return. I'll see you next week. Bye.